Subscriptions are a modern prison. I'm up here because I wanted you guys to see my outfit. We are chained to a wall, and as change we have monthly payments and renewal subscriptions. For this video, I will tell you a story. I had a family member that recently spent a long time in hospital. What I'm saying is they had a lot of issues remembering passwords and users and so on. So they actually lost a lot of data. I mean an Apple Music subscription with hundreds of songs accumulated during the years. Pictures stored on the cloud that they cannot access anymore. I mean books locked inside an Apple ID account. Everything locked inside an Apple ID account. And it truly sucked. And the key to all this sucking was the fact that these books, these songs, didn't exist anywhere else except on these devices or on the cloud storage of these devices. And basically, my family member had to start collecting all over again. I must say, they don't mind this that much, but for someone like me, a hoarder, not a hoarder, a collector of trinkets, this is tragedy. And also seeing this whole process of being locked out of your things seemed pretty terrifying, even watched from the outside. Everything we own that is not physical media, right now, in general, does not belong to us. Yes, it is lent to us if we pay, but it will never be fully yours the way a DVD or a CD is. There is no space for customizing, there is no space for transferring, there is no space for sharing without a big tech company knowing of it, controlling it. But that's the key, knowing of it. Why do you need to know what I do with something I paid for? Something as absurd as a CD, okay? I didn't buy a house. How could I buy a house? I'm Gen Z. We're never having houses. So anyways, me too. I spent a few days at the hospital, keeping company to my family member. And after these few days of doom scrolling through my phone, I realized that it felt like I realized that the more things I managed to decentralize from my phone, the better. And the first step was to get an mp3. And so I got one. I downloaded music. I modded it. And now I look cool as fuck. And I use my phone a little bit less. And, wait for it, and Spotify or Apple or Samsung could crash tomorrow and I from my window will keep on listening to Where Is My Mind while I watch them burn. And that is a little pleasure of life. Also, I decorated it. And it's really cute. Cats, added a flower in the on-off button, more cats, capybaras, blah, blah, blah. Down below, I will link some of the videos I watched that convinced me and that will present you with some actual interesting data and not just opinions like me. But if this, plus my story, plus how cool I look, isn't enough to convince you to start using single-purpose devices, I will hopefully convince you through my favorite thing, movies. Today, I bring you 3 films that although don't necessarily show mp3 players, they do use a kind of music player single-purpose device. It's a bit of a let's go down memory lane to a lot of things that I don't actually have a memory of, but that I wished I did because they look so cool. Well, we'll see. Let's go. All About Lily Chou-Chou or All About Lily Chou-Chou. I'm not sure how to pronounce the name. This film follows Yuichi Hasumi, a teenage boy with a passion for the music of Lily Chou-Chou, a singer whose music he was introduced into by Shusuke Hoshino, a new friend that will soon become his bully. All About Lily Chou-Chou is a film about physical and sexual abuse. It's about bullying, it's about anger, it's about rage, trigger warning, but it's also about escape. It's about finding comfort in what you like. And it's about being a fan, which is something that I love. And it's about the internet as a place, as your secret room. There is a saying in Spanish that says, Pueblo pequeño, infierno grande, which will translate to small town, big hell, something like that. That will be a very literal translation. And that could also be a good description for this film, which I agree. You will never find me in a small town. If I can cross a whole town in 1.5 hour bus or walking, you will not find me there. I need at least 3 line changes or something like that. While Yuichi deals with abuse at school, he finds comfort in the online forum he founded for the Lily Chou-Chou fans. And to listen to her music, he uses a portable CD player. A portable CD player, or Discman, was basically a device where you could put a CD inside and listen to it. It was created in the 80s and it was used all the way, I guess, to the 2000s before the MP3s started getting a lot of attention from the market. The one he uses in particular is a Sony Walkman portable CD player G protection DEJ611. That's a very long name. He listens to her album in a field in his town, with the wind rustling and the sun tanning him lightly, without notifications, without scrolling, but especially without the possibility of changing the CD and switching to another artist. It's him and his commitment to her album. It's a pact with art that is not as easy to ignore as it is now. Now, did I love watching this film? Not really. The pace is a bit slow for me, and the non-linear structure of the film didn't help me to connect with the characters because I was trying to figure out what was happening. However, I mention it because there are a couple very original details about this film and some things that gave me food for thought. First of all, I love the way Yuichi's online presence in his blog is shown on screen. It's very charming. They show a black screen where you can read the comments Yuichi and other fans exchange in real time as they type, which at least for me, it was a super successful way of reinforcing a feeling of privacy, you know? This film is impregnated with the sense of liberty the internet used to have, because in this film, this blog is an escape from real life, a well of fresh water in his desertic life. It's not where his insecurities come from, or his fears, or his, anxiety, like social media is now for all of us, but especially for teenagers. It's not a presentation card. It's not a dating pool. It's not an extension of real life. It's an alternative one. The internet truly used to be an open world, which I guess it just goes back to this thing we hear all the time, that we are being fed content. We don't find content anymore. We don't explore for it. It just kind of arrives at our doorstep. And lastly, another detail that I loved about this film is that Lily Chou-Chou doesn't actually exist. It's a singer created for the film. How cool is that? She has pretty cool bangers. Let's move on to the other film, Persona 3, The Spring of Birth. This particular film is the first film of the trilogy, Persona 3, that shows Makoto Yuki arriving at his new high school dorm while walking around the streets of Iwatodai. He takes the tube, he strolls calmly while listening to music from a vial-looking device that hangs around his neck. That device is a Sony NWS205F mp3 player, discontinued now, in case you were wondering, and whose silver version I have read was only released in Japan. Makoto Yuki will then enroll in high school and fight off shadows. He will find them with his ability to awaken into his personas, and yeah, he will save everyone or something like that. To be honest, I chose this film, but I don't love the film. It's just not my kind of anime, but I still put it here because this little mp3 made me wonder what other interesting devices were out there 20 years ago, 30 years ago. So I thought, why not show how fun the world could be if we weren't bound to the boring rectangular black touchscreen all our phones have. Let's go to the most fun mp3 players I found so far, apart from this one. RCA Opal. This was sold from the mid to late 2000s, pure Y2K. There are many colorways, but I like this one because it's pink and it's nice and it's cool and it's Barbie. It's crazy to believe that it had only 1 to 2 gigabytes and that they marketed saying that you could add videos and watch stuff. That's nothing. Touch less screens, touch more buttons, whatever. Let's keep going. The Sony NWA1000. This was sold in between 2005 and 2006, and I think specifically to Japan. This one, I think it just looks super futuristic. It's minimalistic and it's compact. It has fun colors. Let's just talk about the new boring colors of the iPhone. And it has that glass shiny finish, which now I think is just very popular. Everything looks like that. But when I was a kid, I was a sucker for that aesthetic. For me, in my head as a kid, felt like, yes, the future is now and it's in my hand. Because my mp3 is shiny. I didn't have this mp3, but I had a different version. And now let's go with my top one. That also leads me to a bit of a reflection. The Sensory Science Rave MP2100. Let's stop on this one for a bit and let me show you the packaging. The device is called Rave and is sold and marketed for ravers. I think we have kind of lost that now. I think marketing campaigns now try to be appealing to everyone. But the thing is that, of course, when you try to appeal to as many people as possible, as you possibly can, you're going to compromise originality or nicheality, you know? You have to become more neutral so that everyone can feel identified with your brand or believes the aspirational lies you're telling us. And this one I think is so great because it's so specific. If you were young and wanted to party, you had to buy this mp3. It was truly a statement. And you must be saying, but isn't that just another way of doing marketing? Well, yes, of course it is, but it's more fun, I think. and more edgy, and allows for more memorable campaigns and objects and products. And last but not least, a special mention to Hit Clips music players. I didn't know about this. I don't think they sold them in Spain when I was a kid, and if they did, I never heard of them. These mp3, if you can call them that, were sold as a toy. I think they were made by a toy company. They were one-song devices with hit pop songs from the year 2000 to 2004 that work by exchanging cartridges. I don't know how to say that word. Cartridges. Do you know how to say the word cartridges? Cartridge?
From the gun, you mean?
No, from the printer. Oh, yeah, organ. Yeah.
Cartridges, yeah.
Can you say it again?
Cartridges.
Cartridges.
Cartridges. Cartridges. Cartridges.
Cartridges. In this 4 years, they released a little bit more than 100 songs. But the thing is that, look at this. This is a collector's dream. It's a teenage hoarder's dream. And although I know the quality was probably not great, and it's not practical, but isn't magical that this thing exists? That you can accumulate so much stuff at your home that it's gonna be amazing forever. It's amazing that, kids and preteens had options of entertainment past phones and that they were so original and cute. You see how broad the world was when everything wasn't concentrated in just one device. And it makes sense, because even though I'm not a techie person, it does sound logical that to increase compatibility, you also have to flatten out the sign. In order to make a more adaptable vessel, well, you need to compromise originality the same way that you will have to if you want to market the product as a must-have for everyone, like we were talking about before, I guess. And last but not least, la boum, or the party in English. Cheesy as one could be, cheesy as only the French can be, and fantastic because of it, let me present you a coming-of-age film of 13-year-old kids who party and a main character, Vic, who falls in love with Mathieu. Vic has problems at home because of his father's infidelity and an imminent divorce, and so she finds refuge and music in her friends in partying in Mathieu. One night at the disco, she takes a break from dancing. I dance, to drink some juice. A silent Mathieu appears from behind her, in hand a pair of headphones and a Walkman. He puts his headphones over Vic's head. She hears a slow song, and they melt into a hug. No unlocking your phone with a PIN code, no scrolling up, no opening apps, no Bluetooth pairing or audio to USB-C adapter, no nothing, just a song and the girl you like. And this might sound stupid to you, but to me that sounds like taking back the protagonism in your life. That moment wasn't about the phone. It wasn't about a bright rectangle shining in your pocket because you forgot to lock the screen. It was a song and a device that will give you just that by pressing a button. Single-purpose devices give our life back to us. They don't claim protagonism. They don't scream at us for attention like my cat does. They're there to complement our life. For example, adding a soundtrack. They're a part of our life, not our life. If you're interested, the Walkman used in the film is the original 1979 Sony Walkman TPS-L2. If you've never heard of a Walkman, it's a music player device that worked with cassette tapes. I believe in the past couple of years, some artists have been releasing their music this way. I guess it's making a sort of little comeback. Or if you have a camcorder from the 90s or 2000s, you might have seen tapes as well. Pretty much that, but with music, I think. They are quite pricey now, but I wish I could get the headphones because they look like half-cut oranges and they look really cute and accumulate even more junk in my tiny house. Let's go into the conclusion. This world that we just saw in these movies will probably never exist again. And that's fine. As much as nostalgia is tempting, nostalgia is also easy. It's safe. The known evil is better than an unknown good. That's also a translation from a Spanish saying. So if you try to find comfort in nostalgia, like I do, because I eat nostalgia like I'm eating cake with my hands, just like gang. I love living in nostalgia or staying there for too long will only lead to frustration because that's just simply not your life. This is a very obvious reflection, but it do be like that. Boyfriend, stay out. Do not think that any pastime was better because it's probably not true. It was just as terrible as it is now, or as good. That depends on what kind of person you are. But still, I guess my conclusion is that I wish we all collectively will try to find a balance when it comes to our dependence on smartphones. We have these technologically marvelous devices that help so much in our daily life. Maybe we should relegate them to our practical life, to the part of our life that needs productivity, like work or getting through someone as fast as possible. But when it comes to pleasure, to moments of enjoying art or just enjoying the world around us. I think it will be better if we try to use devices that do exactly what we want them to do in that single moment, without asking for anything else out of us, for anything else out of me. On the whole, let's live more enjoyably, guys. Let's tell this subscription method to off. And pirate. And buy, do both. That's my video for today. I hope you enjoyed it, guys. Do watch these films. Like I said, they're not my favorite films in the world, but they all added something interesting to my film life. And they all made me think about a pastime where we consumed, even the word consume is terrible, no? When we enjoyed things differently. Ditch Spotify, get an mp3, watch these films, be cool.